Hey, what's going on? YST here. Welcome back to another raid video. Today we've got a 2-to-1 ratio team using Deacon Armstrong. I was so excited to make this composition as it's got no ally protection, no counter attack, no weaken, and no unkillable. So no money is here, and it can 2 to 3 key on Ultra Nightmare, so a very high 3 key or a 2 key depending on your gear, and also it can 1 key on Nightmare using the exact same setup. So the champions that we're using is obviously Deacon Armstrong, then we've got Aox The Rememberer. He's a Lizardman champion that's pretty new. Not a lot of people use him, but I feel he's got an extremely good kit, which we're going to cover. And then we've got Fahrakin the Fat for ally attack. You can use any ally attack champion here, but I just went with him because he's an epic. And then we've got Badel Kazar for the cleanse because that's extremely important. We can use other champions here, but I will go over that. And also we've got the fusible legendary champion, Brago in the mix. So let's go over the gear, the masteries, and anything you may need to know to make this work. And let's get into it. So let's get into Deacon Armstrong first, as he's already on the screen. A lot of people were very excited about this champion over the 10x period, and he is extremely good, not just for the clan boss, but of course that's what we're showcasing here today. So A1, what does he do? Attacks one enemy 2 times, each hit has a 30% chance of placing a leech for 2 turns, and you can buff it up for an extra chance. This is extremely good, guys, so it allows you to not have to use lifesteal sets, and you can start kind of replacing them with stalwart, so you're taking less AoE damage. So we'll get into that in a bit. A2 attacks all enemies, 80% chance of decreased defense, and you can book it up again. And then fills the turn meters of all allies by 15% and decreases the turn meters of all enemies by 15%. Of course, you can't decrease the clan boss turn meter, but the main thing here is we're increasing the turn meter of all our allies, and then he grants an extra turn. This is very similar to Seeker, so if we go into his kit, so on Seeker, on his A2, he increases the turn meter by 30%. So this is why in this composition, you're going to have to use the Aura Deacon Armstrong to make sure you can reach the 2-1 ratio, because you need to make up for that loss of 15% turn meter that Seeker can provide for you. But this guy does bring a lot of utility to the team, and if you don't have a Seeker, a great substitute here. So let's go over the gear and the masteries of what I'm using on this champion. So we're using a Stalwart set. What does it do, you may ask? It reduces 30% damage taken from enemy AoE attacks. This is really good for the clan boss, so every time that you're getting hit, he's taking a lot less of a hit, and it works out perfect. So we've got double speed here, accuracy, defense, and HP percent. Then we've got double speed here, accuracy, and we haven't got any speed on this one. Defense percent with some speed, and then speed boots because the speeds are pretty high to reach without it. And I haven't got the best Stalwart gear, guys, so if you've got better, you could possibly go defense here. So we've got crit damage and attack here. And then we've got accuracy, double speed roll. Defense here with accuracy. Then we've got HP, nice defense roll, and HP percent. And the overall stats that I'm rocking with is a 53,000 HP, 1,600 attack, 3,400 defense. It's not the best by any means. If you can bump it up, possibly 4,000 is a nice place to sit at. Then we've got 226 speed. If you're using the Aura, it's going to sit on a 245 speed. So I will put that up here. And then 44% crit rate. It's going to get increased by Fahrakin the Fat. 100% crit damage and 298 accuracy because we want that leech to be very consistent. It's important that you get that up all of the time. And then on the masteries, we've got offense tree going down to War Master and defense tree to get the counter attacks with retribution and deterrence. So that's Deacon Armstrong, and let's get into the next champion. So Aox The Rememberer, I'm not sure how many people actually use him in clan boss teams, but for me he's like a Steel Skull V2. He is insanely good. So let's go over the skills here. A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, each has a 10% chance, and you can buff it up to an extra chance here to place a big version of the poison for 2 turns. So you could potentially get 2 poisons up every time he does this. And then on the A2 here, we've got attacks one enemy, heals all allies by 10% of their max HP. That alone is pretty good. And then here is where it gets extremely good. Heals each ally by an extra 2.5% for each debuff on the target. So if you think about the clan boss, if you can max that out and get it to a 10, you're going to be getting 25% plus 10%, 35% heal on a 3-turn cooldown. That is really good, and especially at the speeds we're going, this is going to be very consistent. And then on the A3, places a 50% decreased attack on all enemies for 2 turns. You can book it up to an extra chance, and a decreased crit rate, but unfortunately this doesn't work on the clan boss. It always says buff not placed, so it's a bit of a bummer, but decreased attack is what I'm using him for anyway. And on the passive, a little bit like a bulwark or a mini vizier, he increases the duration of 2 random buffs on the attacker by 1 turn when attack occurs once per hit. So when you think about affinities, he's going to be getting hit twice every single turn. that could possibly help out quite a lot, especially with decreased attack. And then on the aura, you can use it in the Doom Tower if you want to, but that's not what we're using it for. So what are we using on the artifacts here? I did say previously the aim goal here is stalwart on everyone, but I've had to use a lifesteal set as the second best option. So we've got double speed here, triple raw speed, speed, defense on the gloves, defense on the chest plate, and speed on the boots. And then we've got accuracy, HP, and HP here. I haven't even maxed this out. That just shows how new this composition was for me making it. And then overall stats, 41,000 HP, 3,600 defense, 253 speed. You don't have to use a lifesteal set, guys. Bear that in mind. You can use broken sets or whatever you want because we've got a lot of heals in this team. So bear that in mind. And the true speeds again, I'll put up here. 25% crit rate, 87% crit damage. Fahrakin the Fat once again is going to increase this, and a 246 accuracy just to make sure we can land the debuffs. Masteries, once again, traditional offense and defense down to the counter attacks. So let's get into the next champion. Okay, so we're going to get into the fastest champion of this composition, and that's going to be Brago. You do not have to use this champion, but I just guessed that he's got decreased attack and he's got increased defense, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, so it makes him very viable, and a lot of you will have this champion if you participated in the fusion. So how did we make this work? On the A1, 20% chance of decreasing the duration of all buffs by 1 turn. Not the best, it's not what we're using for. And then places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. That is insane, guys. And then has a 75% chance of placing a stun. You can use that in other areas of the game, and yeah, you can buff it up to an extra chance. You can kind of get away with only booking this one, but the way that I'm using this composition is Aox The Rememberer is doing decreased attack on his A2, and then Brago is doing decreased attack on his A3. So between both of them, they keep it up consistent, so I don't have to have a decreased attack on the A1. So yeah, A3 decreased attack, 3-turn cooldown, works out brilliant. And then on the passive, increased defense on all allies by 10% of this champion's defense. So on the skills here, I've gone triple speed set because I did kind of struggle to do it with another gear set, but he still survives pretty well, to be honest. So we've got a double speed roll here, speed, double speed here, 1 speed roll with a nice glyph, and then HP percent with some speed, speed on the boots, 1 speed roll here, defense, and defense. Overall stats, we've got 44,000 HP, 4,660 defense. Considering the speed, this is pretty high. 278 speed. You may be thinking, how am I going to reach that? If you just looked at the gear there, if you just use 3 speed sets and you have like 1 to 2 rolls on each of them, you should be fine in trying to reach this. I didn't have crazy speed rolls there. You can go back and look. It was just double and single speed rolls. 55% crit rate, 110% crit damage, and a 266% accuracy to land this decreased attack. I'll put the true speeds here again. So yeah, that's him. Masteries, offense tree, and defense again. You get the drift by now. So let's get into the 4th champion. So Badel Kazar, I was extremely happy when I pulled this champion on the double legendary event. You may have seen that video, but I wanted to find some use for him, and that's why he's in this team. But you do not have to use him. Of course, if you have him, it makes it better, but you can use Doom Priest, Steel Skull, Gertrude Mossbeard. There's a lot of champions that can cleanse. So what does he do? A1 attacks all enemies, heals his champion of all allies by 20% of the damage inflicted. Alright, brilliant A1. Then on the A2, removes all debuffs from all allies. This is where it comes very important because it's tuned in a way where whenever Deacon Armstrong takes that stun, he takes it off straight away after the stun turn to carry on your run just as normal. And then places 2 15% continuous heal buffs on all allies for 2 turns and 2 5% poison debuffs on all enemies for 2 turns. Brilliant. Then on his passive skill, all allies inflict 20% more damage against targets under poison debuffs. So of course we're going to always have poisons up with him and Aox The Rememberer. And we do not need the aura here. So what artifacts did I choose for this champion? I went with a Stalwart kit because his speed is the slowest out of everyone here. So we've got a perception set with speed, triple roll speed here, and then we've got a speed here. Crit damage gloves. I could potentially switch this out for defense, but I wanted to get a bit more damage out. So we've got crit rate and speed, HP percent, and defense on the boots with a nice triple roll here. And then accuracy, triple roll speed, crit damage, and defense with some attack percent and defense percent. And the masteries, With him, he's the only one that I went with support because I went the offense tree and I wanted to get the full value of all his heals. So you can screenshot that, whatever you want to do, but this is the way that I wanted to use it. If you don't want to increase his heals, go with the defense one and get some counterattacks out. So overall stats on Badel Kazar is 50,000 HP, 3,200 defense, a 201 speed. True speed once again will be right above here. 67% crit rate, 220% crit damage, and a nice accuracy so we can keep our debuffs consistent. Okay, so let's get into the final champion of this composition. Okay, so last of all here we've got Fahrakin the Fat, and he's an amazing champion, guys, and I wanted to incorporate mostly epic so a lot of people can relate to this composition, but you can also use Kreela, Longbeard. He's a very good choice because we've got decreased defense with the A2 on Deacon Armstrong, so you could potentially put Longbeard and get your weaken from there. But this comp has no weaken in it, we're just running Fahrakin for the HP burns, increased crit rate and crit damage, and all of that good stuff. So what does he do? Decreased defense on the A1, HP burn and poisons on the A2, brilliant, and 30% increased crit rate and crit damage on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all allies except this champion will attack one target enemy. Then on his masteries, I've gone offense and the support tree. I could potentially switch this out to defense. This is still from my previous composition, so you can kind of follow the same one that I showed previously. And then on his artifacts, we've got lifesteal set because I couldn't get the stalwart. I need to farm some dragon. I was a guilty guy and I sold all of my stalwart and now I need it. So speed here, triple roll speed, defense percent, defense on the gauntlets with some speed here, HP percent, speed on the boots, and then we've got accuracy with some speed here, defense and defense. And overall stats, 38,000 HP, 3,600 defense, 252 speed, 44% crit rate, 120% crit damage, and a 268 accuracy. So everyone here is above 250 accuracy because you need to land that for Ultra Nightmare. Nightmare is a bit less of a requirement. So yeah, you can see here that all champions are extremely fast apart from Badel Kazar, but they're not crazy apart from Iron Brago. Yeah, Iron Brago is the fastest one here, but of course we're not using any lifesteal or stalwart here. We're just running speed sets, so it shouldn't be too hard as long as you have some decent speed sets. You could take it off a few other champions that you have and make this work. So that's everyone covered, and let's get into a clan boss run and see how to make this work. Okay, so what you want to do here is put the A2 on every single champion. So you just do A2 with Brago, increased defense, and then you can put the A2 on here, which is the heal all allies. You can use anyone. Fahrakin the Fat, I like to put the HP burns up, and then decreased defense of Deacon Armstrong, and the cleansing ability with Badel Kazar. And then from here, you can just click auto until turn 5, where it gets extremely interesting. There is one thing you need to do with Badel Kazar. So you need to make sure that he A1s before the stun turn. You do not want him using his cleanse ability before that stun. So let's just cycle through here and I'll show you exactly what I mean. But yeah, we got leech, increased defense, we've got all our passive and continuous heals, HP burns, everything we need. Decrease attack continuously with our Aox The Rememberer and Iron Brago. I love this team, guys. A lot of you requested, can you do a 2-key team or a high 3-key team using none of the above that I said earlier? So no counter, no ally protection, no weaken, and no unkillable. And we're making it work using high speeds, Deacon Armstrong the new champion, and Aox The Rememberer in here for a bit of fun. There's a lot of room for improvement. Of course, if we threw a Valkyrie in here, it could potentially be a 1-key, but that's not what I want to showcase in this video because not a lot of people have Valkyrie, and a lot of people say, can you do it without counter attack? Yes, you can. And this same setup here works for Nightmare also. Okay, so turn 5, take off auto, and everyone else can be the exact same, but the main thing is you have to A1 with Badel Kazar. It's very important. So let's just go through these abilities here. Okay, A1, and then Badel Kazar, make sure you A1 here, and after that you can just click auto, guys. So yeah, you'll see here that Badel Kazar is just about to cleanse it off after the stun. And there we go. From here, it's going to work perfectly fine. So I'll let you guys watch the rest of the run and we'll come to you towards the end to showcase the Ultra Nightmare and the Nightmare damage. So let's get into it. 34.92 million. And guys, this is not fully optimized. You can bump up your glyphs, you can bump up your defense, you can get stalwart on your champions. It's very, very possible that this will be a very sustainable 2 key once you reach above maximizing your gear. But for here today, I just wanted to showcase the turn order, and a lot of these champions here are replaceable. The only main things that I would say is Deacon Armstrong, a decreased defense with Iron Brago is very important on a 3-turn cooldown, and a cleanser. Aox The Rememberer and Fahrakin the Fat can be replaced by absolutely anybody, and Badel Kazar, he's only there for the cleanse, so you can use Doom Priest or any other cleansing champion. It's very impressive, so you guys asked for a team that can 2 to 3 key on Ultra Nightmare consistently without any of those stuff, and I've done it for you. So this is the nightmare damage. We hit way over a 1 key, so it's very reliable there already in this current setup. So yeah, that's going to be all for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I really hope that this was useful, and I hope you could take something away from this, even if you can't reach the speeds. Not a lot of people have showcased Deacon in a non-unkillable team yet, so I thought, why not? Let's showcase it and see what kind of stuff we can come up with. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.